It's been a little while since I've talked to y'all, but we're going to talk about my Florida Gators here today. It's been nothing short of disappointing this year. I think any Gator fan out there can fully relate and understand Billy Napier is just not a good head coach. And I mean, that's is what it is. DJ Lagway, he's suffering from missing time. I know there's a lot of Gator fans that are like, give up on the kid. He's awful. Listen, I do understand that some of it is he just wasn't healthy, and he doesn't appear to be really healthy now. He's in a walking boot here as we head into our bye week. He's got a lot of health issues, man, and I hope that he can get healthy and get it cleaned up, and maybe he'll stick around, maybe he won't. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see him leave and go to a program like I think LSU is going to be looking for a quarterback out of the portal next year. I could see him going there because I don't see Billy Napier, surviving the year. I think that there's a strong chance we lose to Texas, get upset by Mississippi State, and then when we head into that bye week, it's the end of Billy Napier era right there. But we'll have to wait and see how it all goes. Maybe our defense, which has been elite, can really turn it around for us because that's really our one hope right now. Like the defense has been the bright spot in all of this, and they deserve a ton of credit. We've been playing a ton of young guys in the middle, and it's worked out fantastically at times. I mean, there's still struggles, but for as young as we are, I really am quite impressed with what we've been able to do. Ultimately, with being thin and we don't have the depth there, we did wear down against Miami, and that's how they were able to run it down our throat at the end of the game and run up the score. But they played as well as you could expect young guys to play when they don't have a lot of depth, on the roster behind them because we're missing Caleb Banks, we're missing Bordeaux. Like, what do you expect when your top guys are down? You're already losing your top end talent, but then your depth guys are stepping up and they've done a good job, but then they wear out and the guys behind them they're not as good. So to me, I'm not really that disappointed with how our interior of our defensive lines played. I've actually been quite impressed by him this year, and I think they deserve a ton of credit. I think Miles Graham has been incredible on defense. Our corners have been good for the most part. I mean, our defense deserves a ton of credit. We've had some lapses at safety, in my opinion, that have led to some big plays. But, we still have guys there that are relatively young that I think can develop. I'm not here to just completely crap on the team. I'm going to be honest with you. I do think we have a good roster, like I thought coming into the year. I just think you have to accept what Billy Napier is. And in his mind, he thinks he's an elite play caller. And the fact is, he's not. He doesn't know how to string plays together well. And I know I'm sitting here in a room that's not put together and looking pretty right now saying this, but I watch a lot of film. I played football. I didn't make it to the college level, wasn't athletic enough. I'm short. So, I wasn't a college athlete, but I want to say I at least understand the game enough to be able to look and go, his offense is too predictable. He does too many things that you can sit back watching the game and already know what's going to come next. And you've heard rumors that LSU knew that. And honestly, it shows because he wants to run inside zone on first down or some sort of inside run on first down almost at all times. It's something that I don't know. I don't understand why he can't realize that tendency and change it up or why he won't switch up his offense and hire a coordinator. Like I said, a lot of that is just on Billy Napier. He thinks he's a better play caller than he is. Now, he's done a good job turning the systems around at Florida behind the scenes. I think it was Josh Pate talk about it. I could be wrong on that, but I heard somebody talking about how, like, behind the scenes, Florida is the same as Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. They have the systems in place to be a great program, but it's the front end stuff, the coaching, the developing of the talent that's been the issue at Florida. And I think that's where Billy Napier's failed us. And I want to say with Dan Mullen, it was the opposite. He had the issues behind the scenes. Now, some of that might have been on the administration as we were getting the new building and maybe them pushing back on wanting to spend the extra money. But the fact is, some of that was on Dan Mullen, and that's why it didn't work out. He could develop guys, he could get them going, get points on the board, and do a lot of that stuff. But the behind the scenes were a mess. So we weren't getting the high end talent. We weren't getting a lot of the things that we wanted out of them. And I don't think we were developing our players to the highest of their ability. We've had discipline issues for years, and that's continued even with Mullen, with Napier. It just hasn't gone away. They got to get that figured out. But I think this is a program that we're likely going to lose a lot of talent. We have excellent players that I hope stick around, like a Miles Graham. He's a legacy. I hope Vernell Brown sticks around. He's the third. He's been fantastic. But we could lose a lot of guys like a Jaden Baugh, who I think is one of the best running backs in the country. And I'm going to be disappointed to see him go, and he possibly does, because we're likely going to change coaches this year. And I think DJ Lagway is probably going to move on. I don't know that I mentioned it because this is kind of an unscripted video and I just had some time to finally record after not being able to for a while. We'll get into that a little later. I was wrong about this team. I really thought that they could turn the corner after last year, and the reality is Billy Napier's not the guy, and we can't do it. Now, looking ahead to the program's future, we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but I want to give you a little bit of an explanation on what's going on and why I haven't been around as much. Well, my wife was sick, that was part of it. And to be fully honest with you, I don't make any money off of YouTube right now. We ran into because my wife is our sole provider right now, with me leaving my job to stay home and watch our daughter. I've had to work on the side and hustle to make some money here to cover up for her having to miss work and being sick. And so I've just been busy. So I haven't had time to sit down and do this. And I know y'all mean a lot to me, and I really do appreciate anybody that clicks on and watches this video, but I do have to take care of my family first and foremost. And, she was sick, she was out of work, and I have skills and abilities that I can work on the side and make money. So that's what I had to do. Been busy focusing on that, helping us catch back up with her being out of work. So I just haven't had the chance. And I'm really excited to get back. We're still trying to catch up and get that figured out. And my wife's luckily feeling better back to work, but it takes a little bit to rebound from that. It's not exactly easy in today's world to lose money and catch back up because everything's expensive. And before you know it, everything gets out of control, when you don't have an income like that. Like she had some sick time, thankfully, but it really was, a bit of an issue here for us. So I've been working, trying to get that figured out and doing what I can when she's off work and helping and making the cash I can. So I just haven't been available. So I'll be back. We're going to get a little bit more consistent here. It might not be the 2 to 3 videos a week I was hoping for. It might be at one a week for a little bit while we do get this figured out. But I don't want to miss out on talking about college football. I'm working on, I think one of my next videos that I want to have out is my early top 10 or 15 wide receivers for the 2026 NFL draft if you're interested in that, because I'm a big draft guy. I've been watching film. I have my summer rankings and I'm kind of pairing that with the grades. I'm trying to watch one tape at least on a lot of the top guys. So that way I can get a new updated ranking out and finally start releasing draft content. And it's still going to be a little bit of projecting in there probably when I release it because there's still a lot of unknown and I've only watched one tape on a lot of guys just to try to make it fair and to get through it as quick as possible when I have free time right now that has been pretty limited. So it kind of changed. I was hoping to watch the first 3 games of a lot of the top guys, and I just haven't been able to do that. So either way, point being, we're going to have that out to you soon. We're going to get draft content rolling out here on the channel along with the college football talk that's not going away. I've been watching football, but it's hard to watch and you're watching passively as you're busy doing other things. So I haven't had time to sit down and record after and watch the all 22 to give you guys good insights on whether guys are going up or down as consistently. And I will work on that. And we're going to get back to it. So, who do I think the Florida Gators could replace Billy Napier with? Well, there's a lot of guys out there that I think could be really good targets for this team. Of course, Dan Lanning, I think would be a fantastic get. I don't expect him to leave Oregon. So, why would I predict they're going to get him? I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to leave Ole Miss, but I'd be interested to see what he could do at Florida. I think a guy like John Summerall at Tulane could be interesting. He's been really good at building programs. Tulane, he didn't really have to build, but he did good at Troy, I think it was, if I remember right. He's continued the success they had there at Tulane, though, after taking over. Used the portal, used a lot of things efficiently. His offenses have been good, so he could be a fit. Ultimately, I'm going to go with a guy that I like. And, I lived in upstate New York for a while, so I watched a lot of Orange football. But I think Fran Brown's probably the guy we want to go after. I think as a recruiter, he can hold up to what Billy Napier's been doing. So we can still get talent into this team. I think he runs a tight ship. I think he runs a good program. I think that's huge. I think, they just got the injury thing there where they got penalized for that and had to pay a fine. Honestly, that's something that, could have been happening across the country for years now, but I think he has a lot of potential as a head coach, and I really do like him. I think Fran Brown could come in, he could hire coaches to run the offense and defense, and we wouldn't have to worry about him being too arrogant to make a change from his system when it's not working, like what's going on with Billy Napier. And I think he could come in and be a program builder, CEO type head coach, which I think really is the way to go in today's world. Of course, you can still have a specialty and train and teach players and develop players, and there's no issue with that. But you need a guy to step in, oversee the program, build the systems behind the scene, install that leadership, the toughness, the discipline that you need. But then you need to be able to trust your coordinators to call plays. And I think right now that's where we're failing. And that's why I'm high on Fran Brown. I think he's done a fantastic job at Syracuse. I mean, if you know anything about Syracuse football, it's awful. They were a basketball school that was starting to fall off at the end of the Jim Boeheim era there. And honestly, they've done a really good job at football, getting it better. Fran Brown's come in, he was the right hire. I don't know that he's going to want to leave there. You know, you never really know the ambitions of a guy like, any of these guys. He is, I want to say, like a New Jersey native. So maybe being closer to home, living in Syracuse mattered to him, a lot more than I could ever know sitting here in front of a computer talking to y'all. But I would really like to get a guy like Fran Brown down here at UF. I really look at him and just think, man, like that's the type of guy we need. He's a leader, installs discipline. I mean, he's a real good coach and he recruits. And I think honestly, it just gives us the opportunity to maybe take that step forward. We've tried all these offensive gurus because that's what worked in the past here at Florida. Let's face it, man. That era is done and gone, and I think a lot of fans need to accept that we should move on from that. At the end of the day, we need a guy to step in and lead. And then we need flexibility. That way, if it's not working, we're not keeping coaches around or we're not keeping the same system in place. And so that's why I'm high on a guy like Fran Brown. And I really hope that that's the guy we go after. There's a lot of other options out there, but here on, I forget the date. Let me look at my watch. The 23rd of September, as I record this, he's a guy that I think they really should strongly consider. I don't know what the Oranges record's going to look at the end of the year. And to be fully honest with you, they're just not a great program up there, and that's not his fault. But I think he's built a lot of good things up there at Syracuse. I lived north of Syracuse for a while in my life. So I know a lot of people up there. I see a lot of news articles and a lot of different things from websites up there that are linked to the Orange still today, and I read about it. And I really think he's a guy that's done a fantastic job with that program. And I think it's the type of guy that UF should look for in their next coach. I don't think they need an offensive guru. I don't think they need a defensive guru. I think they need a guy to step in, oversee the program, and know when it's time to move on from pieces and people and everything and just kind of be that CEO. I think that's got to be the future of the Florida Gators. And that's why here today I'm saying I would love to see them go get a guy like Fran Brown. If you guys agree or disagree, let's talk about it down in the comments. Tell me who you guys want to see the Florida Gators hire as a fan of the Gators because I'm a fan. That's why I'm wearing my Gators hat. I live around the Gainesville area and I attend Gator games. And let's just be honest, I was at that USF game. That was so disappointing to be at and watch that team self destruct once again. Our offense was just they were terrible, man. I try not to cuss too much in these videos, but they were booty cheeks in that game, man. They were awful. And dude, it's embarrassing right now watching the Florida Gators because they have too much talent for being this bad. They're just way better than this. I don't care what you tell me. So I don't know. I guess that's where I want to leave it as a fan, man. I'm disappointed. I expect more out of this team, and I want to know what you guys think down below. Leave the guys you'd love to see him hired. If you don't like Fran Brown, tell me why you don't like Fran Brown as an option. Don't just look at win-loss record. I'm telling you, actually look at the systems and the type of coach he'll be for you. He was an excellent recruiter at Georgia. That's just my personal opinion on who I think would be a good hire. I want to hear yours down in the comment below or down in the comments section below. Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching. We're going to get back a little bit more regular on the channel now. Life's getting a little easier. So I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day. Catch you in the next one. I'm out.